Hey everyone, welcome to today's webinar. I would like to go ahead and introduce who we have today. So first and foremost, my name is Alexis Bailey. I'm the Director of Customer Relations here at Community Income Tax. And we also have Dawn, who works with Taxwise. She is the Technical Product Manager. Couple of quick points to hit on before we get started today. This will be a recorded webinar, so if anyone has to jump off early, we will post it on YouTube afterwards. Additionally, on the webinar, you can go under the Q&A and ask any questions you have during the presentation today, and we'll go ahead and answer those at the end. Again, any questions you have, we're here to answer. Dawn, you go ahead and take on over.
Great. Thanks, Alexis. Appreciate it. Okay. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day and are ready for our holiday season coming on. So today, our webinar is about what's new and carrying forward information. So, and I stopped at data because it says data in the title, but we're not just talking tax return data, we're talking about setup data as well. So I'm going to start with the what's new. And we have quite a list of what's new within the online product. So the first thing is when you go to create a new return, you'll notice below the apply for ITIN, you now can select a preparer and you can select a return template. So what this is used for is if you have a receptionist up front, and we're just going to call our receptionist Mary. So Mary is my receptionist. So she logs in as Mary, right, as your username, and she's going to start the return and she is going to scan documents into Vault, okay? Or she's going to use a USB camera, or she's got a tablet and she does it, whatever she does. But she's going to log in as Mary, where normally that return then would be sitting in Mary's username, and somebody with an admin role would have to move the return out of Mary and into whoever the preparer is going to be. So now when Mary logs in, she can start that return, assign it to the preparer that it's going to go to, and she can also select a return template. And again, let me talk about that for a minute. Some people set up different return templates. So for example, they'll have a normal return template, but then they'll have one for ITIN returns. So now they can just assign the ITIN template, which will have the forms needed to be done to apply for an ITIN within the template. So they can choose a template as well as the preparer. And that is, it has to do with all returns, not just with the apply for ITIN. I had recommended that they move that apply for ITIN up, and they had told me they were going to. So I think you may see a little bit of a stretch in it later, usually around the beginning of January. We do a new update, and I think we may see that change just a little bit then. So don't get crazy if it looks just a tiny bit different, or if they put a line across it, because I said right now it looks like it only works for the apply for ITIN, but it's actually for starting a new return or apply for ITIN. So this is one of the new features for tax year 2022. Okay. The other thing that is new is in the returns tab. You'll see now we have where it actually says return summary. We used to have a little icon there and people didn't know what the icon was for. We had a lot of complaints about it. So you can now look at the return summary right from your returns list. So this is a new addition as well. And again, the return summary, I didn't transmit. I just started a return, so I had one here. So this is where you'll see your demographic information. You'll see your federal income information, and then the e-file, both for the federal and for the state, to see the information. Okay. So again, it used to be a little tiny icon way over to the left, and now they've actually just made it a link because people had a hard time finding it. So that was some feedback we got. So you have that there as well. We also made some changes to the reports. So again, you have your reports here. So one thing we added that everybody asked for was a non-returning client list. So in our desktop product for years, we had a non-returning client list. So if somebody came in on February 4th last year, and it's February 5th, they would appear in the non-returning client list because they haven't returned. You haven't created a new return for them. So anybody, actually, I misspoke on that. It's anybody who has not come back from last year. It doesn't matter on the date. I'm getting that and text confused. So sorry about that. But so what will happen is you'll have this list, and some people use it to mail a postcard to. Again, you got to look at your clientele and what's the best way to work with them. So some people will mail a postcard as a reminder to call and make an appointment, or to call and come in, or whatever. Others will print it out, and when people have slow time during the day, they'll just call people to try and say, hey, let's get you situated to get your taxes done this year, and do that as well. So again, those are items that you can use with this non-returning client list. The other thing that we did as well is we added a column. Let's see if I can get it open. I tried to run it before. It's not going to have any data in it because, of course, I don't transmit live returns. But I wanted to show you, we've added a new column in the e-signature report. And you know what? Now that I think about it, do you guys get charged for e-signatures or no? Alexis?
No, Dawn. E-signature is included with our program for free.
So for our other customers, we added a column that it's been billed, so people could figure out what returns they got billed for. So then I guess this one really wouldn't pertain to you guys because you don't actually get billed for it. So that is one thing that we added for our regular customers as well. The other thing that we've made changes to is the notification panel. Before, on the notification panel, you really only saw, and that's this little bell here. And when you open it, if in the client notes, I put an @ and Alexis's name, and she's a user under Alexis, I could type her a note, and when she comes in, it would be in her notifications. That is the user notification. And then the other things that were here is that in the Office tab, so if someone is using Taxwise Mobile and they upload a new document, not like with what they sent with the actual return data, but they came back in and said, oh God, I forgot to send you another W-2. And so they went in and they sent another W-2 in on that very last screen that shows status. There's a place to upload more documents. This would tell you that they uploaded more documents. The other thing that was on here is e-file rejects. So again, you also got e-file rejects under the Offices tab last year. But this year we've added two others, and one is bank rejects. So if the bank application has been rejected, that will now show up in notifications, as well as completed e-signature envelopes. So if you're using e-signature, and let's just say it's a married filing joint return, and you send it out for the husband and wife both to sign it, when it is completed, both husband and wife have signed it, you'll get a notification here that the e-signature is complete. Okay. And Alexis, at any time, if you see questions in the question panel, just jump in and stop me, okay? And ask the question and we'll go over it.
All right, perfect.
Okay. So that's what's new in the notifications tab. The next thing, which is huge, is we have a new client letter template writer. So we worked really hard on this all summer. I worked with a lot of different people on it. So under the administrator, and you would go to settings, you have your client letter like you've always had. But if you looked at the client letters or used them in prior years, you couldn't add them to your template. So you had to print them with every tax return, and you had to choose like whether it was a balance due or a refund. And there wasn't actually there was no state variables in there as well. So we've added state variables so that you can now give them what their state refund is as well. We have added conditions. So in the old desktop software, it was an if-then statement, but now we have conditions. So this way you have one letter now, and if it's a refund, then it puts in the verbiage for a refund. And if it's a balance due, it puts in verbiage for balance due. So I'm going to click on the client letter template. And you'll notice we've also added an engagement letter. We've always had a federal letter and the privacy policy, but we have added an engagement letter. Some people have asked for that, so we gave a canned one there. To create, and you see I have sample here. I created a sample a little while ago to make sure it worked. So you would click on new template. You'll name it. If you need a description more than what you named it, you can add a description. You can do it from scratch. So you have a blank piece of paper, like a Word document, and you can do whatever you want. Or you can do it off of one of these already. So I'm going to do, let's do federal refund. Oh. Well, it's not liking me. Here we go. So I'm going to say set a refund balance due. And I'm going to take it off of this federal letter that we've already got off the existing one. But I want to change some of the verbiage in it. It doesn't really sound like me in that letter and how I talk and how I am with my customers. So again, you're going to notice here that all these gray pieces, they are what we call variables. And you see the list of variables over here. So anything that is in gray, they are variables. So it's going to pull that data either from your setup, like with the firm name, firm address, the preparer's information, or it's going to pull it from the tax return, like taxpayer's last name, street address, city, state, whatever. So you can go in and edit these letters. So you notice here it has taxpayer last name. I don't really like that. I wanted to say their first name and their last name. So I am going to go here. Let's see. Nope, that's all dependents. I'm looking for name stuff for demographics. Sorry, I made it longer than it was. But you're going to main info, I bet. So let's see if we've got a first name. I'm going to put the spouse's first name. Well, I didn't want it there. I want it down here where it says, Dear Taxpayer. And you notice how I put spouse. Oh, I didn't mean last name. I should have grabbed first name. Grabbed the wrong one. And again, we can do it here, and we can go in and cut it out as well. So again, you've got all these up here. I can bold it or italicize it. I can link to something if I want. I can insert a table, a picture. So again, this is where you can put in your logo. So you have your logo at the top of your client letter as well. and you can go from there. So you can bring any of these variables in, like I just showed you. Also, anything that is not in the gray, you can just change the type. So here I have enclosed is yours, and I want to say attached instead of enclosed. So I can just go in and do that. At any time, you can preview this letter. You'll notice it opened in a new tab at the top. And you see here, that's where I added the last name by accident here, the spouse's last name. So, and I changed attached and it says enclosed. Hold on, let's make sure I did that. Oh, you know, probably it'd be good if I saved it. And now let's look at that preview and see if it's attached. Nope, still enclosed. I'll have to look at that. But that's all you do to change it. The other thing that's really important with this as well is that now, I'm just going to save and close. Now, when you're in your templates, your return templates, I'll create a new one. When I come in and edit it, you should be able to add the letter in, and actually there should be a box here and I'm not seeing it. There we go. Nope. You do not have it on here just yet. It may be in the next update, but you're going to have another. You see where this envelope is? Hold on. Let me see if I've got it. I have a document. Let me see if I have a document where I can pull it up and show you, because it's a lot easier when you see it in real life. Sorry. Hush. Enough. Stop it. Sorry about that. Let me find it here and I'll bring it over just in the screenshot from here so you guys can see it, because it makes more sense when you can see it. Give me a minute. I'm scrolling through this document to look at where you can add it to the template, to the return template, not to the client letter. Hush, hush. Sorry, I'm still trying to find it. This is like a 20-page piece, and I'm trying to look for the screenshot where it shows it. So just give me a second. Finding printing changes. I'm not finding a screenshot of it. Yeah, it's not in there. What'll happen is there's going to be, you see where the envelope is here? There it is. It is there. Then you can add whichever one you want. So I'm just going to add the federal letter. So I click the plus. It says client letter template was successfully assigned to the return template. And we'll do close. There it is. So it came up here. So again, it's that envelope. I was looking and I thought it was the vault box, but it's the envelope. And then you can add the client letters. Stop. Sorry. I live out in the middle of nowhere, and apparently somebody's delivered something because the dogs hear them outside. So you will have the client letter in the template. Stop. Hush. And so, sorry about that. Stop. So you'll have the letter here. The thing to remember about this is if you create different client letters. So if you create, let's say, a slip sheet, you have these really nice folders you put everybody's tax returns in, and you have a slip sheet that you want to put in. you can like line it up so it prints like tax year or whatever in the client's name. If you want that to come out first, you have to add that first. So you can't rearrange them. You've got to put them in the order you want them for them to print in the order that you want them. Okay. So if I had a slip sheet, I would put it first and then the federal letter, if that's the way I want it to print out. So just understand that when you're adding them to the letter template, to the return template, to add that in as well. Okay. And in the right order that you want them. Otherwise, you're going to stress with it because you're going to have to move them. You know what I mean? So instead of it coming out all collated and in the order you want it, it's not going to be, and it's going to take time to rearrange it. So just be very careful with that. Okay. So, the next
John,
thing
it looks like we have 2 questions about the client letters.
Okay.
So the first one is, can you show us how to make it single spaced?
Ooh, you know what? I don't know if I can. Let's go look. Let me save and close the template and go back to the client letter template. Okay. So let's see. Actually, that's text alignment, font family. I don't see strike through, underline. I don't see about the spacing. Let's see if it changed. No, that's headings. Ooh, what's this one? Nope. Page break. I don't see where it's here. So let me just bring up something. You see this light bulb? That is for you to enter things you'd like to see in the software for product management to look at it. So if someone, Alexis, you can do it, or whoever asked the question can do it. You can click on there and go in and ask them to please add spacing so that you can change the spacing. And I'm not sure when we previewed it, was it not single spaced? Hold on, let's look at it. Oh yeah, it's kind of wide, isn't it? Well, you know what? This part is single spaced. This is the wide stuff. So I think it's the way it was laid out. So I think you can go in and let's go in and try and see if we can delete any space. I'm not sure if we can. Nope. No, we'll have to add that as something to put in it. I didn't realize it. And I don't see any way to do it in here.
No worries. It looks like the next question we have, when will we be able to see the cover page from the old desktop version on the online version?
What do you mean by the old cover page? Sorry.
I think what they're referring to is desktop had a cover page which printed out in a layout as far as giving it with the tax client books where it showed. Is that something that they could custom build with the client letter templates?
Yeah, they can custom build it. So because sometimes they have different folders and things, they can custom build anything they want. So if they have some letter or document that they have in Word or whatever, they can come in and build it here, as long as it's like a Word format. But again, you can also build a table in too. So you can insert a table if that's what they want. But yeah, we, at this point, again, we have not added any other letters besides the 3 we have. So for this year, that's all we'll have as what we call canned, where it comes with the software. But they can build anything and everything they want. So for an example, let me just close this. Again, I can do, and we'll call it cover sheet. And we'll do this from scratch, right? Because I want a blank document. So I have a plain white piece of paper. So again, let's go to the main info. And let's take taxpayer's first name and bring it over here. And taxpayer's last name. And sorry, they moved all these around, so I have to remember where they are. I'm looking for tax year. Dates. Nope. It's in here somewhere, guys. I thought it would be under the main info. Okay, so what I can do is I can move this around. Come on. I should have put it on the next column because it's not letting me drag and drop it. And I want this. Nope. I want it center. There we go. And then I can put it anywhere I want it. So again, if I need it down here, because that's where the hole is in the thing, or if you're doing a cover letter, again, you can do something like that. And then you can put your company name and your logo and things up at the top. So again, if you did a insert image, I'll just pick this one. You can put your image in or your logo in as well. So you can do that. And so you can take anything like that into it that you need. So if it's just a cover sheet that goes on the top, not that goes into a folder, you can line it up however you want. So you could put your company name and address here and then have theirs down further. Or if you want yours at the bottom, you know, again, you could drag it down and put it down at the bottom. So you could do that as well. So you can make these, again, any way that you want to do them. Did you have any other questions, Alexis?
Yeah, so it looks like our final question here is there a generic state letter, or can one letter address both the federal and state refund or balance due?
So let me go here. I'm not sure whether they added the state to it. You'll see here we had resident, non-resident, and part year state. Let me open this. And let me see if they had state stuff here. That's federal. Federal. No, I mean, once you can create your own and add the state stuff on it. So again, let me close this and let's go back to mine, because the 3 canned ones that come, you have to create a new one from it. You can't edit that one. So if I had this, again, I can come down and I can go into my resident state and do first state. Sorry, I had to get a space here. So do my first state abbreviation right here. And then I can, whatever, like it says Georgia, I can do your Georgia. And then again, I can come in and pull information from it for the refund or balance due. I think as they start adding the states, we'll get stuff in here. Right now, they don't have that. So again, it's the first resident state, second And then if you go up to the non-resident and part year, but you can pull all that in to create your letter as well. So you've got that. Also, you have conditions. And if I insert a condition, you see here it says if true, then, and again, on our support site, you have the learning portal, I believe, on yours. So hold on, let me get back there. Get to the right one. I got it. Somehow I lost my login there. On here, you have the Taxwise online learning portal. There is a lesson now on the client letters and on the new one. So you can go through it and take that whole client letter piece. I think it's under the what's new. Let me go back one. Sorry. And on the learning portal. I'm going to keep taking me to this one. There's the enhancements. Doesn't look like you guys have 22 set up either on this. So I think we have to look at that because it is under the enhancements. And so you would get it there to look at the 22 enhancements. I'm like, why is that not showing? So we'll have to look at that, Alexis, to make sure that you guys have it on that learning portal so that when you click on the link, you can get to it. So that if they want more information on doing the letters and the actual step-by-step, they can watch the videos of it as well. Okay.
And I think that is it for questions on that section.
Okay, sounds good. So the next one is printing. Okay. So again, under administrator settings, general settings, and then you come to print sets. Okay, yours is not like that either. Alexis, I'm going to log into mine because we have like to print the client letters here, but it's not showing up on the CIT one. Let me just do this and make sure it's showing up on ours and that it's not something they're releasing in January. Let me log out. I've been going between QA and production for I don't even know how long at this point. So I can't remember what I saw in QA. I'm sorry,
I wanted to come on here as well and say, so right now we are in a soft launch of Taxwise 2022. So a lot of features such as e-signatures, printing will become available typically around the 30th to the 1st of January. So some of the features that you're used to using right now are still deactivated as we haven't had finalized form approval and everything for the new year. So you'll see a lot more things come up next week that you can do that you cannot currently do now.
And you know what? It's the same thing for the printing. Again, I must have seen it in QA, not here. So I'm trying to find it in these darn screenshots so I can bring it over. So they must be releasing it next week. Sorry. Here, let me bring this over. I'm sliding it from one side to the other. So you see here on the printing where you used to have federal to be mailed, file copy, signature pages, you're going to have a box to print all completed federal, state, bank, and client letters. So anything that's in the return that has a green check mark next to it, if you check this, everything will print that has a green check mark. The other thing you'll see here is that we have client letters. So if I create a custom federal set or a custom state set, and I want the client letter and that federal and state set to come, I would pick client letters, federal, state. So this is what the new setup looks like. And again, when I went in it, wrong one, move over there. Right now, it's just showing these, but in the next release, which is coming up in the next couple days, I'm sure you'll see the others as well. So sorry about that. I must have been doing something in QA because I had them the last one I did. Sometimes QA doesn't work so good this time of year because they're actually working in it. So it gets kind of messed up. The other thing, oh, I should have showed you this too while I had it over here. So that's the client letters one. The other thing that's different is state help. So in previous years, if you needed state help, you would go up to the question mark up in the top corner and go to state help, and it would open for software help. And you'd have to pick the state and then go from there. So what we've done now is you'll notice here where it says Minnesota, I have this little icon that's a question mark. So now in the tree, if I click this question mark, and let me see if they put a screenshot here, it will automatically open the tax help and open Minnesota. So instead of me having to go through those steps, it'll take me right there. And again, before you used to have to go here, and then you'd have to go here, and then you'd have to go, what I say, Minnesota. You'd go there to get to Minnesota. So this way it opens right to here with one click. Again, things that customers have given us as feedback is taking them time and trying to make it quicker for them so that they can get through it much quicker instead of, 12 clicks and just get it with one. So it's a little icon. It's a little question mark if you all look really hard, but that is there as well. Okay, hold on. I'm coming back here. The other thing that we're doing as well is now you have module versions. So before we used to have to look at the support site to see what version we were on, to see whether like for a state version or a bank version, whether we were on the right version, whether it had been updated. And it's loading, but really slow. So you'll notice here, right now, I have an individual US 20.22.1, and it was put out on 11/3. So they did a little bit of an update there. So you'll have these different module versions, so it will tell you where we are. And why that's so important is if you look at the support site, desktop and online are uploaded a little bit differently. The desktop, depending on how big the update is or what it affects, they can throw it out at any time during the day. With online, we have to take the system down. So typically we do it in the middle of the night or early morning. So it's always updated by 7:30 a.m. Eastern time. But if something comes out at 2:30 in the afternoon, most of the time we do not update it until the following morning. So that way you'll know what version you're on and you can see what's available if you go to the support site. The other thing that happens with that is state forms. As we're getting approval on state forms, both to e-file and to print. So sometimes you won't be able to print something because it hasn't been approved, or it'll have watermarks across from it, like says do not file, because those have not been approved for, paper mail-in type returns. So that information is all on the support site. So when you know what version you're on, then you know where you stand on different things. Okay. The last thing I wanted to talk to you about and show you is Protection Plus. We've always offered Protection Plus. Some of you may use it, some of you may not. It's kind of been a tough sell, but a lot of people don't know that it has additional offerings. So it is for an audit, but most of our customers don't really get a full-on audit. They kind of get a letter that says, hey, you didn't enter the right amount for your advanced child tax credit or whatever. or this child has already been claimed, or you have to prove that you can claim this child because someone else has it, whatever. So what happens with this is you can also use it for any notices that your taxpayers get. So instead of you having to deal with any of that, and again, it's up to you. It depends how comfortable you are handling them. It depends what your time is, whether you can do it yourself or whether it's just too time consuming. But what happens is if you have Protection Plus, you just have the customer call Protection Plus. They'll tell them what notice it is, and Protection Plus will help them get it straightened out. So that's a big piece. The other piece is identity theft. So if someone's identity is stolen, whether it's tax related or not, they will help them to restore their identity, because they do this all the time. So they know exactly what steps have to be taken and what documentation's needed. And they have all that like set up in a package. So on the $44.95, where you do it per return, you choose in the return on the main info whether they want Protection Plus. And again, some people feel it's hard to sell it when they have to do that. So what Protection Plus has done is they have come up with what's called a firm level Protection Plus. And that is where they charge the preparer, not the taxpayer, the preparer, $10 for every e-filed return. So the preparer's cost is now $10. Of course, you either add it onto your price sheet as a line item for Protection Plus, or you increase your prep fees by $10 or $20. Some people add money onto it to make more money because they feel that they can sell it with a lot more money. So again, it's up to you. You could do a Protection Plus line, $50, whatever you want. You'll pay 10 to Protection Plus as the preparer or the ERO. And then, but if you collect 50, you made $40 on that, on selling that. And again, normally it sells for $44.95. So even if you put it on as $44.95, you'd be making $34.95 on every one. So you can do that as well. The way you make that determination is, again, I went up to administrator, I went to settings, and where I'm going to go is partner verification and Protection Plus. And you'll notice now it shows Protection Plus. You'll have to choose Taxwise. And now what it tells you is the information. So here is the new firm level. It's on all 1040 returns. It's $10 per return, and it includes the enhanced services. And you would select which one you want. If you select the firm level, when you come back here into your online product, you see where it says check if you're enrolled in firm level protection. You would check that as well. Now it'll be $10. And again, it's going to go to the preparer. They're going to get charged on their credit card on file for those numbers. So I want you to make sure you're all aware of that. Okay. So you have that also. Guess what? Those are all my changes. So what other questions do we have?
Let's see, guys. Any additional questions you have, go ahead, put in the Q&A now so we can get those answered. As you guys are typing those out, I did want to remind everyone we have another webinar scheduled tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That webinar is going to go over Taxwise Online with all of the built-in products, so e-signature, paperless storage, the Vault, the mobile app, and a couple other fun things. So you're going to want to check your email and make sure that you have subscribed to that webinar tomorrow, so you get notified on that. We are getting questions saying, where can I see the recording? Once we are done with this webinar, it'll take a couple hours, but we will post it on our YouTube channel. Let's see, is Protection Plus included in my price sheet?
No. So again, if you're going to do Protection Plus, what you would do is go to your edit for your template and go to your price sheet. If it's not there, you click the plus and then type in the word price. And then you will, if I can get it to scroll down. So again, two things. You notice I put 110 on the 1040 line. So if I just want to make it so that I'm breaking even, I can add that $10, or I can add 20 or 50, whatever I want, into my 1040 prep line. The other thing you can do is if you scroll all the way down, if I can get there, you'll notice I added it here at $20. So you can add it as a line item, put a number 1 in the first box, Protection Plus, and then whatever you want to charge for it. Because again, depending on how you have your price sheet, your invoice print, most of the time it just prints with a total. Only if you have the checkbox at the top does it itemize. So they don't even know you're charging $20 for Protection Plus unless I do print detailed pricing, because then it would show each form, whatever you're charging a price for, there would be a line on that invoice. But most people don't use this. So you can just add it on like that as a line item down here, and they would never know it's just in your pricing. But make sure you put a 1 here so that it does charge for each one.
All right. It looks like next question, Protection Plus, is it $44.95 plus the $10 or just the $10?
No. So if you choose by return, so John Smith wants Protection Plus, but Mary Jones does not, then it costs $44.95, and that is charged to the taxpayer. Okay. But the $10 one is a separate offering. You have to choose one or the other. But with the $10 one, every single tax return that you do, most of you, I assume, are e-filing. And what will happen is we give them the counts of how many returns you've done. So how many returns you've transmitted or submitted, we give to them, and then they charge you accordingly. So that's how that gets done. That's why, like I said, it's very important, because you're getting charged for it, that you make sure that you bill the client for it, because you don't want to get stuck holding the bag for that $10. I mean, think about it. You know, if you do 1,000 returns and it's $10 a return, you're talking $10,000. So you want to make sure you're collecting at least the 10, if not more, from the taxpayer, so that you're covering your cost and it's not costing you.
All right. Okay. And looks like this next question's a good one. How many years does Protection Plus cover? It used to be 3 years, correct?
Correct. And it still is. So it's this return, it covers for 3 years. It doesn't, like if I put it on my 22 return for Protection Plus, it doesn't cover my 21 and my 20, but it covers 22 for 3 years. And again, if you go to their website, you can read everything about Protection Plus there. You know, they're one of our partners, so everything is at their website. And again, you can get to it, as I showed you earlier, from going under administrative to settings. And when it comes to settings, they're a partner. So it's under partner verification, Protection Plus. I'm going to pick Taxwise. And there's information here. So you've got the two different, and you can put in your information here. If I can get it to scroll down. Okay, so you can do that, or go to the protectionplus.com and go through that as well. So again, it tells you everything that's in it. Okay.
All right, and just one more time, because I am seeing a question here. So the $10 option is for your tax office. So it provides coverage for you versus the $44.95 package is for the taxpayer, correct, Dawn?
Well, it's kind of, I mean, it's the taxpayer every way. It covers the taxpayer, whether it's the $10 or the $44.95. The thing is, and guys, think about it. We know that if we buy in bulk at Sam's, usually we pay less than if we buy small amounts at Publix, right? So it's the same kind of thing. Instead of an individual return, they charge $44.95 per return. So they do that. So now it's $10 for every return. And the reason it's every return is because not all of your returns are bank products where they can collect the $44.95, right? Because on the $44.95, they actually have to collect it out of the refund. So it's just a different, you're buying in bulk, guys. And so it's a lot less. But also because you're buying in bulk, we have to charge the preparer. We can't charge every taxpayer. So again, the way you do it is putting it on your price sheet so that you're collecting that money and not losing it or you paying for it as a cost of doing business. And yes, if you've checked that, if you've signed up for the $10, you do nothing in the tax return. You don't, there's nowhere you have to do anything within the tax return. Okay.
All right, perfect. And that looks like the end for our questions. So I just wanted to thank everyone again for joining us today. And oh, I'm so sorry, Dawn. Thank you so much for the reminder. Can you quickly show them the setup assistant on carrying forward the data?
I'm so glad I forgot all about that. Thank you.
I did too. Thanks, David.
We appreciate it. So, guys, for your taxes, if you used Taxwise online last year, when you open 22, you have the setup assistant button. And if you click on it, you can bring last year's settings forward. Okay. So assigned roles. So the users or to log in, the roles that they had last year, you can bring them forward. The preparer and ERO information. So where they first log in the first time and they go to general settings and they put the company name, their PTIN, all that stuff, you can carry that forward if you mark it here. You can carry forward your return template and you can carry forward your preparer use form. If you use it for questions like, how did you hear about us? And you have a list. So you don't have to start from scratch. I would always recommend that you review them and make sure there's not something you want to add or take away. For example, in the prep use form, I may have a list of marketing things and realize 3 of them brought no customers in last year, so I didn't do them again this year. So I may want to delete them off the list. So you just choose what you want and click carry forward, and it will bring everything forward. Okay? Remember that for taxpayer data, all you do is enter the Social Security number in 2 times and go to either forms or interview. When you click the button to go to forms or go to interview, that's what hits our electronic filing center to get the carry forward data for the tax return. So to get the taxpayers' names and their dependents and their address and all that stuff to carry forward, you would just enter their socials in twice. And like I said, either go to forms or interview. So that's pretty much it for both carry forwards. They're really pretty easy and basic, but just so you know.
And as a friendly reminder, guys, too, you will want to probably carry forward your prep use form. So on line 25, you're going to have CIT entered, which gets rid of the cosmetic issue with the state showing $10. CIT does not charge it, but it takes it away for you. So I would recommend using your carry forward on the prep use form as well. All right, so that looks like that is going to be the end of our questions.
I see one
thank
more.
you all so much for joining, and we look forward to speaking with you more tomorrow.
Alexis. there's one more question in there. The desktop version is available now, guys. So you can download it and install it. So it is available.
So if you're having a hard time downloading it, go ahead, give us a call. It is on our CIT portal, but if you need any assistance, give us a call and we're happy to download it for you.
Good to go?
All right, perfect. Thank you again, everyone.
Bye, everybody.